up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Sports Talk49 with your host, Blake Anthony. Always here, everywhere, with reels and everything. I'm fully back now. I had issues with the internet and stuff like that, so I wasn't posting as much before. I was just trolling online. And you know what? Before I get into that, I'm going to apologize ahead of time for that. I realized I've become some of the people I can't stand. With that, I just got to get out. For now, I'm just going to post stats and things like that and just leave my opinion for when I get on here and just let things play out. That I was trolling a little bit online, just can't bring myself down to ignorance because it'll beat me every time. So I'll just let that ride and we'll move on as it is. You know what we're here to talk about. Bucks losing to the Falcons again, 31-26. It would have been nice if they would have came back and did what the Falcons did to the Bucks when they were on the road in Atlanta with a come behind upset victory. But that would have been nice. But apparently that didn't happen. So there's so much to digress in this thing, and we're going to address a bunch of it before I get into the actual stats. The first thing I'm going to say is Tampa always has a divide. What I notice is some of you guys are just some bitter people who need other hobbies or they need to stop drinking alcohol, because you always find there's some type of divide every year with these teams. And when new players come in and things like that, you have people for the coach, you have people for the quarterback. When one's not doing good, they just go back and forth like a tennis match. And then you got some of us who are just saying, we don't want them gone. We need them fixed. We need these issues addressed. We need these issues fixed. Never hear me ever say they just need to be fired and all that, because some people have the ability to do it. I try to figure out why these things are happening. And then we attack what the problem actually is. For example, Baker Mayfield. Turn the ball over. That's a problem. People say turnovers don't matter. Not even going to argue with you. I play defense. That's all I ever asked, try to do was get turnovers. Any other defensive player? Why do you see every defensive player like Jesse Bates and everybody punching at the ball? Because turnovers are an important part of the game. It's one less possession the offense has. You don't get that many offense possessions in games, especially if you do it in a red zone scoring situation. It comes back to hurt you, i.e. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then the thing goes, well, it's not just him. Well, when you're throwing balls and coverages and you're not looking guys off, that tends to be you. Tip passes at the line of scrimmage, you can't control that. You're 5'11" and you're trying to throw over 6'5" guys. Don't really fault you for those. But for those you really throwing bonehead interceptions and things like that, you had control over that. That's what you do have control over. Backs fumbling. Bucky fumble was a key fumble in the first one, which the defense in that game of that all them yards with Kirk Cousins, Levante Davis interception should have ended the game. That should have been the game. Offense decided they wanted to give the ball back to the Falcons. You go into overtime and lose. So, be that as like I said, you can go back and forth. There's just several things with that. I just talking about the things that you can control. Fumbling, throwing bonehead interceptions, stuff like that you control. Bad penalties, stuff that you can control all of that. You have full control. There's no he threw it for me. No. Well, somebody else was carrying the ball for me and I fumbled it. No. You had control over that. That part, that's what I'm talking about. Control those aspects of it. Now, defense. People just don't like Todd Bowles for whatever reason. I'll say this and I'm going to leave it alone. This will be the last time I ever address it. Why people like to call people they don't like him because he's black for whatever reason is because they say that because you stood up for guys who did absolutely nothing. You keep quoting him with the Jets. He's no longer on the Jets. That's irrelevant. If you want to say that, Liam Cohen failed with the Rams and failed in college and bounced around. but you get an opportunity to come back and right your mistakes. When people have bad situations, you learn from them. You're not going to hit on everything. That's what makes people's stories in life great, is because you overcame adversity. Prime example, Raheem Morris was handed nothing to this franchise. Got scrambled up some wins with a young team, partied with him, probably broke some things he shouldn't have done. Took a long time to come all the way back, become the Atlanta Falcons head coach again, just to get another chance. Are you going to keep putting him down for what he did with the Bucs? You think he is? No. Took what he did, learned, and moved forward. You praise Dirk Cutter. Was absolutely terrible. He literally stood on. I remember watching a press conference where he said he has no idea what to do, and y'all didn't crucify him. Literally said up there, he has no idea what to do. You got players coming to practice drunk. He had no control over that team. Todd Bowles has control over this team. These guys. When do you see any of these guys doing anything outlandish out in the streets? You don't. Because these guys respect him and he controls it. Yeah, as it may, you be mad at him for timeouts, trying to win games, doing fake punts, whatever. That's your opinion. I'll never be mad at a guy for trying to win a game. I'll be mad at you for trying not to lose a game, but I'll never be mad at you trying to win a game, trying to get a spark going. I'll never be mad at that. I'll be mad at that moment when it doesn't work, of course. Monday morning quarterback, you know the result of what happened. But at the time, anything could have happened. I'll never be mad at that. Any coach trying to win, any player trying to win a game. And then you say things like, "Oh, we want Liam as the head coach. You wanted Dave Canales as the head coach." How's Canales doing out there? No support system, going straight in. No head coaching experience whatsoever. Liam Cohen, you want to do the same thing? How's that going to work out? You should probably stick to your day job and let the Glazers continue to do. Oh, and don't forget Dirk Cutter, offensive coordinator. You just want to throw into a head coaching job. That's kind of like what happens to rookie quarterbacks. Losing franchises, you throw a quarterback into a situation. Yeah, he's just going to turn it around. Doesn't work. See, the thing with Jaden Daniels, you actually got an established coach that's got with I can't think of his name right now. The old Seattle defensive coordinator. He's out there coaching now. He's got a support system. He's got some legs under him that he can actually move a franchise. He can't just throw somebody right in the situation and try to fix it, because when you bring that in, your whole roster is going to turn over because guys are going to dip. You're not going to have the same roster. Until Todd Bowles loses that locker room and loses the respect of his teammates and things like that, then I'll agree with you. But at this point, it's not happening. They know they're making the mistakes. That's why he gets up there and says that. These are bonehead plays that we've been doing since we get it. You're just leaving guys wide open. That's not a game plan. That's a guy not knowing his assignment. For example, this is what happens if you guys some of you got to have some type of mindset to know when you play the game, your coach goes, hey, they in this formation, they're going to do this. You guys probably need to jump inside of this route and cover it. All right, coach. Goes out here, he does something totally different. And then you're sitting there like, what the hell are you doing? Oh, well, I thought they were going to do something else. And then here we are, here the fans are, here's the media are. Well, why did you call that? I didn't. I told him to do exactly what you said he should have done. And he did something else. But you're not going to get in front of the media. And that's another part. Realize when somebody's trying to cover somebody and when they're not. So when somebody just straight up blows a coverage or something like that, you're not going to go, well, Levante David was supposed to have and didn't have it. Oh, yeah, so Todd Bowles said that you didn't know what you were doing on the play. That's what happens. You don't want that in your locker room and in your roster because the media and the fans will run with that and run with that. There's just little aspects. Like I said, I say all that to say that's why people get mad and say those things like that. Like I said, that's the last time I'm going to bring that up about that. But that's why people had that turmoil with it like that, because you have a guy who's probably the only guy to hold Patrick Mahomes without a passing touchdown. Somebody had to stat check me. He's the only guy to do it. He came up with a scheme to stop Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, the most important game and gave up no touchdown passes to Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. No passing touchdowns. And then coming into the next season, everybody stole his game plan. That's why they struggled that year. They ended up having to change their offensive scheme or whatnot. But that's just Andy Reid. And then now they've developed into something different. That's just, just like that. Just won a playoff game, has won the division ever since he's been a head coach. Yeah, he's won the division ever since he's been a head coach. Yeah, and won a playoff game. But you won and fired. You won and fired last year. He had a top 10 defense, and the offense was playing bad. The offense was playing awful last year at times, and you still had a top 10 defense. This year, not so much. Injuries, secondary. I said this all year. Keep adding to this defensive front. But then where are their sacks going to come from? Where are they going to come from? Because I don't see a guy on here that's going to produce 10 sacks. I don't, and you're not. So you get one of the two things that happen. I've rambled on and I even get to the box score, but everybody knows what happened in the game. So I'm going to talk about it. What was I talking about? Oh, so you're stuck with a conundrum in the situation here. All right, let's just rush forward and try to get the quarterback. Oh, they're not getting no damn pressure. The quarterback's got all day to throw. I just told y'all at the beginning of the year, you have no guy that's going to get these sacks for you. So, i.e., you've got to blitz your defensive backs. Got to blitz your defensive backs that they're second to last or last place in secondary right now. And put guys like Frankenhold or whatever the rookie's name is in situation. Because you have to pressure the quarterback. You have to do it, or Kirk Cousins is going to have 500 yards passing. I've said this, and I've always been a proponent of saying this. You can win games without having a stud corner, but you can't win games without having no pass rushers. The New York Giants showed you that recipe with probably the Patriots' best offensive performance ever with Randy Moss on there. They had no corners that you could even name. You probably got to Google it. But you remember that defensive line, though, don't you? You remember it. That was the recipe of it. I loved why I watched Dean's progression. I love watching Carlton Davis. I love watching Anton. Well, I think he still has some safeties in there, maybe. But because the way the scheme is, you're going to have safeties and stuff like that. But, high-paid corners, you don't have to have it. Look at the New York Jets right now. Sauce Gardner, probably the best DB right now. They're terrible. They can't. Well, they should be able to get the quarterback. They have more guys than Tampa Bay Buccaneers have. But let me sure before I lose my train of thought. I would rather have that. But the situation is that's what I was saying. So if you got to blitz your DBs and then leave guys back in coverage, you're putting a compromise. It's tough. It's basically situational, drive by drive. Can we get a stop on it doing this time? Are they expecting us to do that? Because I saw them do that. They act like they're blitzing and then they were able to jump out and try to catch them in the RPO situations where throwing in the flats. They made a couple decent stops on those. So they're mixing that up because teams are expecting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to blitz because of what I just said. You have no stud coming off the end. I love Yaya to death. Don't get me wrong. He's not a guy yet that's going to get you. Though he's not going to TJ Watt it. He's not going to Nick Bosa it. He's not going to Michael Parsons it. Not yet. And I don't see a guy on the roster in sight to do that. So you have to create pressure. I just say I hope y'all understand that part of it. You have to get pressure. And sometimes he's lucky he calls blitzes and everything, and they get home. Now let's move back to the linebacker situation. Y'all want to take Devin White out of here so bad, but there ain't a replacement in sight right now. And I don't remember Devin White being this bad. Oh, my God, with KJ Britt in there. Oh, my God. It's just so bad. It's night and day. I watched him run out to the flats to cover a guy, break down. The guy just runs right around him. For the love of God, Savasier Dennis, can you get back healthy? Because if you flip back to a couple posts I got, with Savard Dennis, he was probably a key contributor of why the Bucs beat the Lions with his coverage availability, his head on a swivel, finding where the open receiver was and getting under the ball. That's what they're missing. Remember, KJ played on those first and second downs or second and long and third and longs. Savard came in, and the coverage was much better. So, people are asking, well, why did it happen? You're missing key cogs and things. So if I'm Todd Bowles right now, I'm trying to probably find a hybrid linebacker safety guy to come in on third down. That's what I'm thinking right now, because you're at the midpoint of the season. KJ Britt is not going to get that done with the passing. And you just can't rely on solely Levante Day to do every damn thing, especially with the Chiefs, the Niners coming up, the Chiefs and then the Niners coming up. You can't do it. KJ Britt is going to get obliterated by Travis Kelce. If you got him on fantasy, you probably should play him. So you got to find some type of tweener guy to come in and play that nickel, that sub LB package, and come in and play that spot, or bring one of the safeties to come down there and put somebody else back. But that only happens if people are healthy. Tyke Smith being out, that's another cog that you don't have. Granted, he's still the head coach. He's still the defensive coordinator, but there's a lot more to it. It's not Madden where you just throw bodies out there and then you expect it to work. It doesn't. Offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, these guys are smart enough and they make adjustments to move things around. You can't make many adjustments if you don't have bodies to move them. Because now you're asking on guys who barely get any playing time in practice, and they probably don't know the damn playbook. Big props out to Sterling Shepard and the wide receiver company. They did pretty good. Other than McMillan probably running that wrong route, would have been a touchdown. Baker threw on the third down. They did right. Baker did do a lot of good things. He got the ball to the open guy in space, was moving the ball, didn't really put himself in harm's way with the scrambling. Just with the two picks, the one I don't know why he's throwing it to 81 with a safety over top. They were just all over it. We probably should have pulled that one and found a check down or tried to scramble. And then the other one, that was just you staring down the receiver, and the safety was already in pursuit over top and full speed and stride. Was able to get to the ball before that. But those two picks ended up hurting the team because those were in scoring position interceptions. So those are the things like that. That's what we talk about with picks and stuff like that. And then the fact that you have 7 in 3 games, it's not helping in the turnover margin. On top of your defense is struggling. Your defense is struggling. The last thing you want to do is give opponent team's offense the ball. I will say they're still holding teams besides the Henry game, Baltimore game. You're still holding teams, under and rushing. But with the way the secondary is, why would I even want to run it or try to run it? Well, you have to have some type of balance. Why would I even try to run it if I can just get the ball passing in the air? And that's just fact, right there. But that's just what the situation is right now with the team. And you're at the midpoint of the season. You're 4-4. All your goals are still in front of you. You still can win a division. Our opponent, the Bucs division opponents, got tougher schedule as well. So there's just got to be some tweaks. The running game's still working. The backs are still finding lanes. I'm loving to see that. Offensive line is back healthy. They played really well. So there's a lot of good things that are happening. It's just the bad things are what's costing you to lose these games. I mean, I kind of sound like Todd Bowles right there, but that's just what it is, and that's pretty much football in a nutshell. Besides bonehead plays like running punts back, getting punts blocked, extraordinary things, field goal kicks blocked, and you're running back. Besides those, these are all things that they could fix. You can't beat 2 opponents. You can't beat the Bucs. Can't beat the Falcons. Like you said, it's self-inflicted problems. A lot of new guys playing. I was watching other press conferences. It's the same thing on other squads. Why do you think guys are like that? They're probably just not too familiar or comfortable doing what the scheme is. And you were like, well, why would you leave the corner in situations? Bruh, nobody can handicap you all game when a team's got weapons across the board. They'll help you in situations. But there's times where the safeties, hey, you. That means you got him on your own. He gets paid too. That's not a game plan situation. That's a guy man on man, big on big. You've got to make the play. You got to make the play. At some point, it's not the scheme and the game plan. Bro, you got to make a play when it's time to make a play. Don't try to jump a route because you think you see something when you're leaving your guy wide open in the flats. I saw Izzy do that one time. It was a third down. The receiver ran an out-breaking route. I don't know why. He was shading himself inside like something else was coming. And he allowed the guy to get outside. That's not a game plan. That's a guy not doing his assignment. Well, why don't they just fire him and get him out of there? It's not how it works, man. It's not how it works. Because you're right back to the situation that we were just talking about before. Now you're putting in guys who don't even know the playbook. You're going to have blown coverages for real. So that's why when you be like, why is he still in? Because you really don't have nobody to replace him at this time. Ryan Clark said it. He said you only get to suit 47 guys, and that's across the board. So you don't have 1,000 corners sitting there waiting in the wind, waiting to go. That's just what you got. That's the most I've talked, but I didn't even talk about the box score. But like I said, you guys know pretty much what happened in this game here. 31-26. Let me blow it up. Let me blow it up. Where I got it at? Yeah, Cousins. Not bad game. 23 for 29, 276, 4 touchdowns. Running backs didn't do much. Darnell Mooney and Pitts had a day. Pitts had 2 touchdowns. Offensive line did a great job. Gave up no sacks. I didn't even notice that. You gave up a pick to A.J. Terrell. Then you gave up another pick to Jesse Bates. And Jesse Bates had also a punch out of Rachaad White earlier in the game. Baker Mayfield, 37 for 50. That's a big problem. 50 passing attempts, 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Bucky Irvin, Baxter really touched the ball, 9 carries. Rachaad White, 6 carries. And then nobody else really did much else as far as running. Cade Otton had a day, 981 and 2. Raheem Jarrett, 358. Bucky, 740. Rachaad White, 538, 1. Jalen McMillan, 435. Trey Palmer, I really don't think we use him enough with the speed he's got. We've got to take more shots downfield. Just 2 for 29. Let me look at defense while you had it. Did they sack? I think they did sack Cousin. Brewer had 2 sacks. Way to go, coming in and getting a chance to play. And then really wasn't much else after that. Yep, C.J. Brewer got 2 sacks in that game. But it's more self-inflicting injuries than this. And yeah, they got to fix something on defense. Your run defense is still good, but you got to fix the secondary some type of. So I propose I would want to know what the timeline on Dennis is coming back. Would have my answers for everything else. Because if he's not coming back anytime soon, then I would probably try to find maybe a hybrid safety linebacker guy to come in there, sitting at home, or can acquire in a trade. Maybe moving one of your safety guys. See, this would have been a nice time to have Ryan Neal. I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan is Ryan Neal on a team right now. That's a good question. So he had to step in and play linebacker, and I don't see why he couldn't step in and play sub linebacker in the secondary. Right now. It's funny. They're just talking. And the first thing that comes up, he said his ability to play linebacker. Ryan Neal, safety, he's a free agent. I would spin the wheels on that. I would give Ryan Neal a call to come play sub package linebacker on nickel. Already knows the scheme. Already knows the defense. Could plug right in and play. I know he wasn't too great, playing over top safety, but he might be able to play linebacker. 6'3" guy, over 200, over 215 or something like that. I would spin the wheels on that. I would consider that if Dennis is an option coming soon. What do you guys think? That was long. Like I said, I wanted to get in here and say a bunch of that. I really love Jamel, the way he gave his breakdown on fans, the way the game goes. And you got to stay even. You got to give credit when it's good, credit when it's bad. And like guys like Alex Dunster and guys that get on there and talk about with Baker Mayfield. Like, I'm not a Baker fan. I think I've made that very clear. But I've given him his props. When he played, I'm like, man, he's playing great, keeping the ball out of harm's way, giving the check down. He's doing everything right. Keep that going. They got a chance. But when he's doing bad, I'm doing the same exact thing, bro. You're making bonehead picks. I didn't say nothing the first couple ones. Hey, all right, it's happening. It's all right. And now it's game 2, game 3. Yeah, I'm still coming at you with it. That's what I'm getting at. When it keeps happening, yeah, I'm having a problem. That's like this defense. It keeps happening. They got to find some type of replacement. It's either one of the two. Got to find somebody else to get in coverage, especially in that linebacker spot, because your division opponents know you best. They know you weak over the middle field with the linebackers. They took advantage of it. Or you got to get some type of edge rush. And before I finish it up, I just want to say they're in a tough situation right now. And what I mean by the tough situation is because I don't want to give up draft collateral and set myself back for a short-term rental or a guy that's not even going to be here in a year or two. To me, that's like wasting a pick. Unless you're going to get an all-out stud like Crosby or somebody like that for the low, that guy makes an immediate impact if you plug him into your team. Immediate. You won't have him for long, but I won't be too mad at that over, something just a short-term rental. Like Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is he's 31, injury prone, would fit perfectly and would make an immediate impact. I won't front. But his success is only based on the Liam Cohen's scheme and the Baker Mayfield's ability to get to the ball, get him the ball. And I say that because it's so many more intangibles in Kupp making an impact rather than Crosby getting an impact. All Crosby got to do is beat the hell out of the dude in front of him. He's going to get a sack. If they want to slide protection backs and everybody else out there to block him, it's one less pass, one less guy going out for a pass that the defense has got to cover, and that actually helps your secondary. So I say that because I think that impacts you more and helps you more rather than adding Kupp. I mean, what do you guys think? Is there another guy somewhere, maybe a Hassan Reddick? I mean, they've got to spin the wheel on something. Hassan's got some time left. You can get some couple years out if you want to spend a third or something like that. It's just a lot of options. And I'm interested to see what they got coming with the trade deadline closing. What do you guys got? Well, that's as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it, is entirely up to you. Thank you guys. God bless. And as always, fire those cannons. See you next time. Peace.